Good morning everyone and welcome to the class. Today we are going to start a new chapter in history, and the chapter is the making of the national movement. It is from 1870s to 1947. Okay, so first of all we need to do some recapitulation. We have done up to this revolt of 1857 and aftermath. What were the consequences of this revolt of 1857? So what is required today, that we need to in a brief we will try to understand, we will try to recapitulate the causes of discontentment of Indians with the British rule. The revolt of 1857 was the result of this discontentment. And what were the reasons for this discontentment? Why Indians were not happy with the British rule in India, which was done by the East India Company? The first and the most important reason, as we have discussed as the reason for this revolt of 1857, the first reason for डिसकंटेंटमेंट ऑफ इंडियंस है ना, जिसको हमने 1857 के रिवोल्ट में भी पढ़ा था, दैट वाज द ब्रिटिश started to conquer the territories of India. It started from Bengal. They took the Diwani of Bengal, and then they expanded their rule. There are so many rajas and princes and nawabs. They were deposed of their rule, and their territory was taken by the British. So this territorial conquest by the British was not liked by Indians, because it was considered to be a disrespect for their rajas, who were given a very respectful place by the people. So then the Mughal ruler was also disrespected by the this British East India Company. So these were the first of the most important reason for the discontentment among Indians with the British rule. Okay. Then next we will see that some new laws were made. So many changes were brought about in administration by the East India Company. So these new laws and administrative institutions were also, in a way, it was seen to be as interference, or we can say a kind of change was brought about by the British government, which was not liked by Indians. Then we find that there was, during the British rule, there was change in the lives of tribals, as we have seen in the chapter Tribals, the Echoes and the Vision of a Golden Age. Tribals were supposed to be the Raja of forest, Jungle ke Raja, है ना? But during the British rule, what happened, that the company started to hold its control over the forest resource of the country, and that is why we find that they started to control, they started to regulate the lives of tribals, which was not liked at all by the tribals. Then there was this lives of peasants were also changed. How it was changed? As we have seen, one of the most important example was indigo cultivation. The farmers were forced to do indigo cultivation, which was highly harmful for the peasants, and that is why we have seen this blue rebellion taking place in Bengal. And after that, what happened, that Indigo Commission was established by the British government, and then this indigo cultivation was stopped in Bengal. Then it shifted to Bihar. It was not ended, but it only shifted from one place to another. So the peasants were also unhappy with this British rule. Okay, and then we see that in 19th century so many changes were occurred in the education system as well. Like we have this vernacular institutions, pathsalas were there, but now the British wanted to control the education of the country with the Wood's dispatch in the year 1854, है ना? So Wood's dispatch, the aim of Wood's dispatch was to start education in India on British pattern, and जो system prevail कर रहा था, the system of pathsala education which was prevailing was to be ended, है ना? So these changes were occurring which were not liked by all the Indians. Then, as we have studied in the previous chapters, the women were that class of the society which was exploited. So many ill practices were there existing in the society, like child marriage, polygamy, then this sati practice. All these were against the interest of the women, and with the help of the British, so many Indian we can say social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, they started to mobilize people for the demand of some new laws, which should end the ill practices of the society. And likewise, we have seen that in 1829 this sati practice was banned by Lord William Bentinck, and then Vidva Vivah, the widow remarriage, that was also started by making a law, and minimum age for marriage was also fixed by law. So all these changes were done by the British. Though these changes were progressive in nature, still we find that the conservative section of the society was not happy with all these changes in the society. So they were against the British rule, because in their opinion these changes became possible only with the help of the British rule. And then not only this, we find that there was challenge to the caste system as well. Like in Indian society, the Brahmins were given the most important place, and the Sudras were given the lowest place in the society. But now these things were started to be changed with the British rule. Not only this, so many social and religious reforms were also started by British, like missionaries were there. We have read about missionaries in the previous chapter. Missionaries were there whose main function was to expand Christianity, and in order to facilitate the conversion of Hindus to Christianity, what was done by the British government, that it made a law, the law which said that the person who converts from Hinduism to other religion will not be refrained from the ancestral property. We have discussed this also when we were discussing the causes of revolt of 1857. So these changes were occurring, and these changes some of these changes were positive in nature, like we have discussed the social changes, but still the people were not liking these changes, and all this culminated into this revolt of 1857. And because of all these, we can say, dissatisfaction, the revolt of 1857 took place, and we have discussed this also. What were the consequences of revolt of 1857? The most important consequence of revolt of 1857 was that the rule of India was now the country was to be ruled directly by the crown of the Britain. The rule of East India Company was ended, and now India was started to be ruled by the British crown directly. Before 1857, India was ruled by the company, but after 1857, from 1858 onwards, India started to be ruled by the crown directly. Second thing, which is very much important, as we have discussed this also, after this revolution, it was decided that now no territory of India will be annexed by the British. Before 1857, whatever territory was annexed by the British, that is final. Now there will not be any more annexation, because the British understood that this has become one of the most important reason for the revolt of 1857, and they were knowing very well that if another revolt of this magnitude happens, then the roots of the British rule will be moved, and the British will not be able to rule anymore in India. And that is the reason we find that this decision was taken that there will not be any more annexation of territory of India by the British government. Okay, and not only this, we also find that during this British rule, there was decline of craft, and industries were also not able to grow, as we have discussed in the chapter that weavers, smelters, and factory owners. In this chapter, we have discussed how the traditional crafts started to decline, not only in respect of cotton textile, but also in respect of iron industry. The traditional craft started to be declined, and there was very much problems in the growth of industries. So all these became reason for the discontentment of Indians with the British rule. These all are reasons for discontentment among Indians against the British rule. Okay, and this discontentment became the reason for the emergence of nationalism in Indians. Okay, because of dissatisfaction and discontentment with the British rule, there emerged the feeling of nationalism in India. First of all, the question which arose in the minds of the people was, what is this country of India and for whom is it meant? I will write the question because it is very much important to understand the question. The question is, what is this country of India? What is this country of India and for whom is it meant? So, इंडिया है क्या? क्या है ये जो कंट्री है? How can we experience this country? How can we witness this country? Where can we witness this country? India can be witnessed by among the Indians, the people of India. They are India. इंडिया क्या है? जो इंडिया के लोग हैं वो है इंडिया. इंडिया जो है वो if a ruler is ruling over the country, that ruler is not the identity of that country. Actually, the people, the common people, are the identity of that country. The culture of the people who are living in that country, the language of the people who are living in that country, that is the identity of the country. So, the country of India was the people of India. जो लोग हैं वही कंट्री फॉर्म करते हैं. एंड व्हेन दिस फीलिंग कम्स दैट पीपल आर कंट्री, दिस फीलिंग जनरेट्स नेशनलिज्म. इसी को हम नेशनलिज्म कहते हैं. ठीक है, इसी को हम नेशनलिज्म कहते हैं. किसको? जब ये फीलिंग आती है कि कंट्री जो है वो एक्चुअल कंट्री कॉमन पीपल जो है उनसे बना है. कंट्री का मतलब ये नहीं होता है कि जो रूलर है ही इज द कंट्री. नो, द रूलर इज नॉट द कंट्री, द पीपल इज द कंट्री. ठीक है, तो जो ये सवाल है कि ये सवाल उठना लोगों के मन में शुरू हुआ जब ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट से एक डिसकंटेंटमेंट आया. तो ये समझ आया कि ये एक फॉरेनर्स हैं जो हम पे रूल कर रहे हैं, हमारी कंट्री पे रूल कर रहे हैं. आखिर हमारी कंट्री है क्या? हम लोगों से मिलकर बना है ये कंट्री. और ये कंट्री किसके लिए है? इस कंट्री की जो भी रिसोर्सेज हैं वो किसके लिए होने चाहिए? हमारे लिए होने चाहिए, क्योंकि द कंट्री बिलोंग्स टू अस. सो द रिसोर्सेज ऑफ दिस कंट्री मस्ट बी फॉर द पीपल ऑफ द कंट्री, बिकॉज people of the country are we can say they are the owner of the country, है ना. तो इसके साथ ये फीलिंग आया कि जो ब्रिटिश हैं वो इंडिया में आ गए हैं बाहर से, एंड दे आर एक्सरसाइजिंग कंट्रोल ओवर द रिसोर्सेज ऑफ द कंट्री. They are exercising control over the lives of the people. They are curtailing the freedom of the people. They are treating them in an unequal manner, है ना. So, this control was not justified because these people, the British East India Company, was not of India but it was of Britain, है ना. So, this control was to be ended. Indians need not to be controlled by the British. The resources of the country need not to be controlled by the British, है ना. This control was needed to be ended, and then only India could be for Indians. India Indians के लिए हो. इंडिया के जो रिसोर्सेज हैं उसको इंडियंस यूज़ करें, न कि इंडिया के रिसोर्सेज को अगर ब्रिटिश यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो फिर हमारी कंट्री क्या है? वी आर स्लेव, वी आर नॉट अ नेशन. So this feeling generated that the British are the alien ruler. They are using the resources of our country. They are controlling the people of the country without any legitimate right. They don't have any right to control the people. They don't have any right to use the resources of the country. है ना? So this kind of feeling started to be emerged, and this is nationalism. Nationalism का यही मतलब होता है people forms the nation. एक नेशन कैसे बनता है? एक नेशन बनता है उसके लोगों से, राजा से नहीं बनता है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर से नहीं बनता है नेशन बनता है आम लोगों से. सो दिस फीलिंग कि देश हमारा है, हमारे जैसे जो आम लोग हैं, जो कॉमन पीपल है, वी आर द कंट्री. सो द रिसोर्सेज ऑफ द कंट्री मस्ट बी यूज्ड बाय अस. इट शुड नॉट बी यूज्ड बाय द ब्रिटिश, है ना? तो ये चीज़ें जो है वो आई, और इसके साथ ही ये जो नेशनलिज्म की फीलिंग आती है, with this feeling of nationalism we find that so many political associations were formed, especially after 1850. Then it started in 1850, then it goes on till 1870s, 1880s. So many political associations were formed, but the one of the most important political association was the International Congress, which was established in December 1885, and it was the leaders of this Congress were English educated professionals. Okay, so we will continue with this discussion in the next class.